we have done a lot of, I'm not gonna say me personally, but a lot of people in general, have done a lot of hurtful to innocent people. And I think that people got tired of it.
Dozens of alleged MS-13 gang members have been arrested on Long Island. Law enforcement estimates their membership here to be in the hundreds.
In the bustling streets of New York City, a shadow lurks. It's not just any shadow, but a looming presence that strikes fear into the hearts of many. This isn't a story of heroes and villains. It's a tale of desperation and struggle, of a community besieged by the relentless grip of fear. At the heart of it all lies MS-13, a gang that has carved its name into the very fabric of the city. You see, behind the headlines and the flashing lights of police cars, there are people, real people with real lives, living in constant fear of the next violent outbreak. Mothers clutch their children a little tighter as they walk the streets, whispering prayers for safety under their breath. Fathers work long hours, haunted by the knowledge that their loved ones may not be safe even within the confines of their own homes. MS-13 isn't just a gang, it's a force to be reckoned with, an entity that seems to grow stronger with each passing day. Despite the tireless efforts of law enforcement, their grip on the city tightens, leaving residents feeling helpless and abandoned. But why? Why does MS-13 thrive in the very heart of a beloved city, seemingly immune to the efforts of those sworn to protect us? The answers aren't easy, but they lie in the tangled web of poverty, desperation, and broken dreams that so many in our communities are forced to navigate every single day. As we delve deeper into the complexities of this issue, it becomes clear that there are no easy solutions. Yet, amidst the darkness, there is hope. Hope for a brighter future where the streets of New York City are no longer held captive by fear. But first, we must confront the harsh realities that lie before us, shedding light on the truth behind MS-13's rise to power and the challenges that lie ahead in reclaiming our city. MS-13, short for Mara Salvatrucha, is a notorious gang that originated in Los Angeles during the 1980s. It began as a group of Salvadoran immigrants who came to the United States fleeing civil war and seeking better opportunities. However, instead of finding a peaceful life, many of these immigrants faced poverty and discrimination in their new home. In response to these challenges, some young Salvadorans formed small groups for protection and solidarity. One of these groups eventually evolved into MS-13. The gang's name, Mara Salvatrucha, combines Mara, a term used in Central America to refer to street gangs, with Salvatrucha, a term reflecting the gang's Salvadoran roots. Initially, MS-13 focused on providing a sense of belonging and protection for its members within the Salvadoran community in Los Angeles. However, as the gang grew, it became involved in various criminal activities, including illegal movement of DE, extortion, and violence. This shift was partly due to the harsh realities of life in impoverished neighborhoods, where opportunities for legitimate employment were scarce, and gang involvement seemed like the only viable option for many young people. The spread of MS-13 beyond Los Angeles can be attributed to several factors. One significant factor is the deportation of gang members back to their home countries in Central America, particularly El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. These deportations not only exported MS-13's criminal activities, but also facilitated its expansion as deported members established new chapters and recruited more members in their home countries. Additionally, the gang's transnational nature enabled it to establish connections with other criminal organizations, both within the United States and abroad. These connections facilitated the illegal movement of DEs, weapons, and humans across borders, further fueling MS-13's growth and influence. MS-13 is known for recruiting new members, often focusing on vulnerable youth, immigrants, and marginalized communities. This gang operates globally, with a strong presence in Central America, the United States, and other countries. Understanding how MS-13 recruits members sheds light on the allure of gang membership and the factors contributing to individuals joining. MS-13 often targets vulnerable youth who may feel disconnected from their families or communities. These young people might lack positive role models or face challenges like poverty or violence in their neighborhoods. Gangs like MS-13 offer a sense of belonging and protection, filling a void that these individuals may feel in their lives. They promise camaraderie and support, drawing in those who seek acceptance and belonging. Immigrants, especially those who have recently arrived in a new country, can be susceptible to gang recruitment. They may face language barriers, discrimination, and economic hardship, making them easy targets for gangs offering a sense of community and financial stability. MS-13 exploits these vulnerabilities, preying on immigrants who feel isolated and powerless. Marginalized communities, where resources are scarce and opportunities are limited, are fertile ground for gang recruitment. Young people growing up in these environments may see joining a gang as a way to gain respect, status, and protection. Gangs like MS-13 provide a distorted sense of empowerment, offering a path to social recognition and perceived success. Additionally, social media and popular culture glamorize gang life, further enticing individuals to join. Images of wealth, power, and loyalty portrayed in music, movies, and social media platforms can romanticize gang membership, making it appear attractive to impressionable youth. MS-13 recruits new members by exploiting vulnerabilities in youth, immigrants, and marginalized communities. The allure of gang membership lies in the promise of belonging, protection, and empowerment. Factors such as poverty, violence, discrimination, and the glamorization of gang culture contribute to individuals joining MS-13, perpetuating the cycle of gang activity and its devastating impact on communities. MS-13 is known for its involvement in various criminal activities, which have severely impacted communities in New York. One of the main criminal activities associated with MS-13 is illegal movement. Members of the gang are often involved in the distribution and sale of illegal drugs such as coke, heroin, and methamphetamine. This not only contributes to the spread of addiction and substance abuse, but also fuels violence and crime within communities. Illegal human movement is another heinous crime perpetrated by MS-13. The gang has been known to exploit vulnerable individuals, particularly women and children, by forcing them into prostitution or labor exploitation. These victims often suffer unimaginable abuse and are trapped in cycles of violence and exploitation. Extortion is a common tactic employed by MS-13 to exert control over businesses and individuals in their territories. They demand protection money from businesses, threatening violence or destruction if their demands are not met. This creates fear and instability within communities, as businesses and individuals are forced to comply with the gang's demands to ensure their safety. Robbery is another criminal activity frequently carried out by MS-13 members. They target individuals, homes, and businesses, often using violence or intimidation to steal money, valuables, and other possessions. These robberies not only result in financial losses, but also leave lasting psychological trauma on the victims. MS-13 is infamous for its involvement in violent crimes, including assaults, unalivings, and gang-related warfare. The gang's ruthless tactics and disregard for human life have led to numerous incidents of violence in New York communities. One notable case occurred in where the bodies of 4 males, including 3 teenagers, were found mangled in the woods, according to police, where innocent bystanders were caught in the crossfire of a gang-related shootout, resulting in multiple casualties and injuries. MS-13's criminal activities have had a devastating impact on communities in New York, spreading fear, violence, and instability. One way MS-13 keeps control is through fear. They use violence and threats to intimidate people living in the area. If someone doesn't obey them, they might face serious consequences. This makes people scared to go against MS-13 or report their activities to the police. Another tactic MS-13 uses is controlling illegal activities like illegal movement and extortion. By controlling these activities, they gain power over the neighborhood. They might force businesses to pay them money in exchange for protection or sell drugs on their behalf. This makes it hard for other gangs to operate in the area. MS-13 also uses social media to spread fear and recruit new members. They post videos and messages showing their power and violence. This attracts young people who want to join a powerful group. To expand their influence, MS-13 sometimes forms alliances with other gangs or groups. They might work together to control a larger area or take over new territories. This helps them grow their power and control more neighborhoods. In some cases, MS-13 targets rival gangs to weaken them. They might carry out attacks or unalivings to show their strength and scare rival gangs away. This helps MS-13 become the dominant group in the area. Law enforcement agencies work hard to combat MS-13's influence. They use tactics like surveillance and undercover operations to gather information and make arrests. They also work with communities to encourage people to report MS-13's activities and provide support to those who want to leave the gang. MS-13 uses fear, violence, and control of illegal activities to establish and maintain control over neighborhoods in New York City and surrounding areas. They use these tactics to intimidate residents and rival gangs, as well as to expand their influence. However, law enforcement agencies continue to work to disrupt MS-13's operations and keep communities safe. One major challenge for law enforcement is the lack of sufficient funds, manpower, and equipment. Without enough resources, it becomes harder for them to gather intelligence, conduct investigations, and make arrests. Limited resources can also affect their ability to provide protection to communities affected by gang violence. Laws and regulations sometimes create hurdles for police officers when dealing with gang members. For example, certain legal procedures may need to be followed during arrests or evidence gathering, which can slow down investigations. Gang members may also exploit legal loopholes or rights protections to avoid being caught or prosecuted. Many communities affected by gangs like MS-13 are hesitant to cooperate with law enforcement due to fear of retaliation or distrust. They may worry that providing information to the police could put them or their families in danger. This lack of trust makes it challenging for law enforcement to gather crucial information and solve cases effectively. Gangs like MS-13 operate in intricate networks that span across different cities and even countries. Breaking these networks requires extensive coordination and intelligence gathering efforts. It can be challenging for law enforcement agencies to keep up with the constantly evolving tactics and movements of these gangs. Police departments engage in community outreach efforts to build trust and cooperation with affected communities. They organize events, hold meetings, and work closely with community leaders to encourage information sharing and collaboration in fighting against gangs. Many law enforcement agencies establish specialized task forces dedicated to combating gangs like MS-13. These task forces bring together officers from different departments and jurisdictions to pool their resources, expertise, and intelligence in targeting gang activities. Law enforcement agencies use advanced technology and techniques for gathering intelligence on gang activities. This includes surveillance, wiretapping, and undercover operations to infiltrate gang networks and gather evidence. Prosecutors develop specific strategies to hold gang members accountable for their crimes. This may involve utilizing racketeering laws or seeking enhanced penalties for gang-related offenses to dismantle gang operations effectively. Some communities implement prevention programs aimed at deterring youth from joining gangs in the first place. These programs offer mentorship, education, and job opportunities to at-risk individuals, thereby reducing the pool of potential gang recruits. Despite these efforts, combating gangs like MS-13 remains an ongoing challenge that requires sustained dedication, cooperation, and resources from both law enforcement agencies and the communities they serve. It's crucial for all stakeholders to work together to address the root causes of gang violence and ensure the safety and well-being of everyone in the community. People are feeling scared and insecure because of the violence and intimidation caused by the gang. This fear is not just among those directly targeted by MS-13, but spreads throughout the community, affecting everyone's sense of safety. Social disruption is another consequence of MS-13's presence. Families are torn apart when members join the gang or become victims of its violence. Schools and neighborhoods become divided as people fear associating with those they suspect of being involved with MS-13. This disruption makes it harder for communities to come together and support each other. Trauma is a significant issue for those who have been affected by MS-13's violence. Victims and witnesses may experience emotional and psychological distress, leading to long-term effects on their well-being. Children growing up in communities plagued by gang violence may suffer from trauma that impacts their development and future opportunities. Despite these challenges, residents, community organizations, and policymakers are working together to respond to the threat posed by MS-13. Law enforcement agencies are increasing their efforts to dismantle the gang's operations and arrest its members. Community organizations are providing support services for victims of gang violence, including counseling and legal assistance. These efforts aim to address the immediate needs of those affected and prevent further violence. Policymakers are also implementing strategies to prevent young people from joining gangs in the first place. This includes investing in education, job training, and recreational programs to provide alternatives to gang involvement. By addressing the root causes of gang membership, policymakers hope to reduce the overall impact of MS-13 on communities. Support systems are in place for at-risk individuals to help them resist the influence of MS-13. This includes mentoring programs, after-school activities, and community outreach initiatives. By providing positive role models and opportunities for personal growth, these programs aim to empower individuals to make positive choices and avoid involvement with gangs. MS-13's presence has had a significant impact on local communities, causing fear, insecurity, social disruption, and trauma. However, residents, community organizations, and policymakers are working together to respond to the threat posed by the gang and support those at risk of gang involvement. By addressing the root causes of gang membership and providing support services for victims, communities can work towards creating safer and more resilient neighborhoods. Mara Salvatrucha is a gang with strong connections across borders. It began in El Salvador, a small country in Central America. But now, it has spread its roots in various parts of the world. The gang's international ties play a big role in how it operates and how it keeps going, even when faced with challenges. Firstly, MS-13 has deep roots in El Salvador. It started there in the 1980s, during a time of civil war. Many Salvadorans fled the violence and found themselves in Los Angeles, United States. This is where MS-13 took shape, initially as a group to protect Salvadoran immigrants from other gangs. As members got deported back to El Salvador, they brought the gang with them, spreading its influence. Today, MS-13 operates not only in El Salvador, but also in other Central American countries like Honduras and Guatemala. It also has a presence in the United States, Mexico, and even Europe. These international ties mean that MS-13 can move people, drugs, and money across borders easily. They can also recruit new members from different parts of the world. The gang's resilience comes partly from its international connections. When authorities crack down on MS-13 in one country, its members can escape to another. They also learn new tactics and strategies from other gangs in different countries, making them harder to stop. Furthermore, MS-13's international ties give it access to resources that help it thrive. For example, it can smuggle drugs from South America through Central America and into the United States. It can also extort money from businesses in multiple countries. MS-13's transnational nature makes it a formidable force. Its roots in El Salvador connect it to Central America, but its reach extends far beyond. These international ties allow MS-13 to adapt and survive, making it a significant challenge for law enforcement agencies worldwide. Gangs like MS-13 can cause harm in communities, but there are ways to prevent young people from joining gangs and help those already involved to leave. Prevention and intervention strategies are important. They help address why young people join gangs and how to stop it. Youth outreach programs play a big role in prevention. These programs connect with young people in communities. They offer safe spaces, mentorship, and activities. They teach life skills and provide positive role models. By engaging young people, these programs offer alternatives to gang involvement. Community policing is another strategy. Police work closely with communities to build trust. They focus on preventing crime rather than just responding to it. Officers get to know community members and work together to solve problems. This helps reduce gang activity and keeps neighborhoods safe. Education and employment opportunities are crucial. When young people have access to quality education and job prospects, they are less likely to join gangs. Schools can offer support and resources to at-risk students. Job training programs help young people build skills for the future. By investing in education and employment, we invest in preventing gang involvement. Gang intervention efforts are also important. These programs target individuals already involved in gangs. They offer counseling, support, and pathways out of gang life. Intervention workers build relationships with gang members, helping them leave the gang safely. By providing alternatives and support, these programs disrupt the recruitment pipeline for gangs like MS-13. Prevention and intervention strategies are essential for addressing gang involvement. Youth outreach, community policing, education, employment opportunities, and gang intervention efforts all play a part. By addressing the root causes of gang involvement and offering support to those at risk, we can make our communities safer and stronger. Policy and legislation play a big role in fighting MS-13, a dangerous gang. Governments make rules, called laws, to stop MS-13 from doing bad things. These laws cover different areas like gangs, immigration, and giving money to police and community programs. Anti-gang laws are rules made to stop gangs like MS-13. These laws make it illegal for people to join or help gangs. They also give police more power to arrest gang members and punish them. Anti-gang laws aim to stop gangs from growing and doing crimes. Immigration policies are rules about who can come into a country. Some policies try to stop MS-13 members from entering. They do this by checking people's backgrounds before letting them in. These policies also allow authorities to deport gang members who are already in the country illegally. By controlling who enters the country, governments hope to reduce MS-13's influence. Funding allocations mean giving money to different groups. Governments give money to police to fight MS-13. They also give money to community programs that help young people stay away from gangs. These programs offer things like job training and after-school activities. By giving money to both police and community programs, governments hope to tackle MS-13 from different angles. But these measures might not always work perfectly. Some people worry that tough anti-gang laws could unfairly punish young people who are not actually in gangs. They also worry that strict immigration policies could separate families and make it harder for people to escape gang violence in their home countries. Additionally, some argue that simply giving money to police might not solve the root causes of gang problems, like poverty and lack of opportunities. Policy and legislation are important tools in fighting MS-13. However, their effectiveness depends on how they are implemented and whether they address the underlying issues that contribute to gang violence. Addressing the MS-13 problem in New York and beyond requires looking at the big picture and planning for the future. It's not just about dealing with the immediate issues. It's about finding long-lasting solutions. This means we need to consider many different factors and use a variety of approaches. One important thing to think about is the underlying reasons why young people might join gangs like MS-13. Often it's because they feel like they have no other options. They might live in neighborhoods with high levels of poverty and violence, where it's hard to find a good job or get a good education. So, one part of the solution is to address these socioeconomic inequalities. This could involve things like investing in education and job training programs, improving access to affordable housing, and providing support for families in need. But it's not just about money and resources. We also need to tackle the systemic violence that exists in some communities. This could mean working to reform the criminal justice system so that it's fairer and more just for everyone. It could also mean finding ways to build trust between law enforcement and the communities they serve, so that people feel safe reporting crimes and cooperating with investigations. Another important factor to consider is the role that immigration plays in gang activity. Many members of MS-13 are immigrants or children of immigrants, and they often face unique challenges and vulnerabilities. So, any long-term solution needs to take immigration policy into account and ensure that immigrants are treated fairly and given the support they need to succeed. Overall, addressing the MS-13 problem requires a comprehensive, multidisciplinary approach. It's not enough to just focus on law enforcement or punishment. We need to tackle the root causes of gang activity and create opportunities for young people to thrive. The grip of fear MS-13 holds over New York City is a stark reminder of the challenges faced by communities plagued by violence and despair. However, with determination and collective effort, there is hope for a future where safety and security prevail, bringing light to the darkness that looms. That's it for this video. Until next time, bye.